Hello, and let's call to order this April 15th, 2026 meeting of City of Smithville's Historic Preservation and Design Standards Advisory Committee. It's our quarterly meeting. My name is Monica Post, and I'm the chair of the committee. I'd like to start down at that end and just have everybody briefly introduce themselves.
I'm Erin Cornett.
Michelle Nelson.
Bonnie Joplin.
Charles Diltz.
Mike Reynolds.
And let's say welcome to Mike because it's his first meeting.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard. All right. Call to order has been done. Now it is time for announcements, presentations, proclamations, and awards. And I'm kind of excited. We actually have something to read today. We never have proclamations, but this time we do. It's really long. So we are going to do something different. And I will start it, and then we are going to just go round robin, and everybody's going to take a paragraph until we're done. So it'll be me, then we'll head to Bonnie. The National Historic Preservation Month Proclamation. Whereas historic preservation is an effective tool for communities across the nation for managing growth and sustainable development, revitalizing neighborhoods, fostering local pride, and maintaining community character while enhancing livability. And
Whereas it is important to celebrate the role of history in our lives and the contributions made by dedicated individuals in helping to preserve the tangible aspects of the heritage that has shaped us as a people. And
Whereas Smithville was once a major passenger hub of the Missouri, Kansas, Texas Railroad, or MKT, and the James H. Long Railroad Park continues to honor our unique heritage under the leadership of the Smithville Railroad Board and the Smithville Area Chamber of Commerce. And
Whereas the Smithville Commercial Historic District and the Smithville Residential Historic District are on the National Register of Historic Places, the Smithville Residential Historic District is a recorded Texas historic landmark, and West End Park has an undertold story marker designed by the Texas Historic Commission. And
Whereas the Smithville Historic Preservation Design Standards Advisory Committee was established to protect the character of the historic commercial area of Smithville, to preserve its built history, and to foster economic and community vitality while honoring and protecting the social fabric and community culture of the community. And
Whereas the architectural design standards were created as guidelines for the rehabilitation, redevelopment, maintenance, and preservation of its existing historic structures and providing design standards for the development of new construction projects within the Smithville Historic Commercial District. And
whereas the city has established a historic marker program that encourages community members to designate their historic properties and/or significant events to recognize contributions from the past. And
whereas Smithville has a long-standing history and tradition of honors, such as the first film-friendly designation.
that's disturbing. Can we just do it?
And Robert.
All right, looks like we're good now. Let's take it again, Bonnie.
I can pick up where I left off. Okay, whereas Smithville has a long-standing history and tradition of honors such as the first film-friendly designation and a vibrant cultural arts district that is an officially designated cultural art district, which significantly enhances the historic fabric of our town. And
whereas since 1975, the Smithville Heritage Society has worked to preserve, protect, and enrich the stories and histories of Smithville through their archival records and research. The Heritage House Museum and Archives special events and programming in partnerships that showcase and support the historic fabric of the community, and
Whereas the last day in April, April 24, 2026, is the National Historic Marker Day, and the city of Smithville has 4 existing city markers in town, and 3 more are on the agenda today. And
Whereas May is National Historic Preservation Month, co-sponsored by the Smithville Heritage Society, the Smithville Historic Preservation Design Standards Advisory Committee, and the City of Smithville.
Now, therefore, I, Mayor of City of Smithville, do hereby proclaim April 24th, 2026 as National Historic Marker Day and May 2026 as Historical Preservation Awareness Month, and call upon the people of Smithville to join their fellow citizens across the United States in recognizing and participating in this special observance.
Thank you, Michelle, for standing in for our mayor, Sharon Forster, who passed and approved this just a couple days ago. And I want to back up before we head to the next item. We had a meeting cancellation at the last minute, so we are lacking a secretary. Would anybody on the committee be willing to play secretary for the evening and just take notes on things that happen? As I stare at Aaron.
Yes, I'll do it.
Thank you. All right, item number 3, discussion and possible action on the approval of December 17th, 2026 meeting minutes. Do we have any public comment about this first? Okay, does anyone have a motion for me?
I make a motion that we accept the minutes from the,
December
where's that? The December,
17th.
okay,
Minutes of the-
for the Wednesday, December 17th, 2025.
I second that motion.
All in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Madam Chair, we will sign this after the meeting on just this one. Okay. For the
Okay.
minutes, that is.
Thank you. And yes, Bonnie, thank you for pointing out that this is Robert's first meeting as well. So welcome, Robert. Welcome to small town Smithville, where you wear many, many hats. All right. Item number 4, discussion and possible action on Historic Preservation and Design Standards Committee assistance to the Texas Historic Commission's First Street Initiative for downtown Smithville.
My presentation. I'm going to load it. One moment. There it is. Okay. Thank you. This presentation is based on a lot of information that was presented to me beforehand. When I first started with the city of Smithville, we had a number of items that were beginning. In October of 2025, we applied for a Texas Main Street Program application. And in doing so, the Texas Historic Commission asked us to begin with a First Street initiative. So I'm going to go through this quickly. Do you have a question, ma'am? No? Okay. So the State Agency for Historic Preservation was established in 1953. The Texas Historic Commission, their key functions are designation and protection, review authority, state historic sites, grants, tax credits, resource management, and in particular, economic development, Main Street. Their Main Street program essentially is an economic vitality, thoughtful presentation for important historic resources in Texas. The vision essentially is they utilize different programs designed and sensitively preserved and economically vibrant town centers. Okay, I'm just going to be brief. Essentially what this program is about. This is a program about helping your downtown. It gives you an opportunity to revitalize your downtown by a series of programs that they have embedded in their broad view program. When they put this program together, it provided for some core values. It gave you an idea of essentially what this is about. It's about organization, it's about promotion, it's about design, it's about economic vitality. Those are the core programs for this particular program. Unfortunately, there has been a little bit of trouble about trying to get this program off the ground in different cities. So in doing so, what happened was the Texas Historic Commission decided that instead of having a number of communities begin the program and then decide to pull back because they didn't quite meet what they needed, they began a program called First Street Initiative. And this program essentially is a year-long application. And it's designed to help you understand what you're getting into when you decide to go after a Texas Main Street program. This is a program that over the year, you'll be doing several things. One is you'll do some asset mapping. They'll do a couple of the things that will help you get you where you need to know and understand the things that you'll need to have in order to have a successful Main Street program. So they began this program, and last year was the first year, and this is our second year. And we applied for the application in October, and we received it. We received the opportunity to join First Street.
Robert, quick question. When did we get notified that we were in?
I believe we were notified a little after we applied, so it wasn't long after.
So October, November last.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
And we actually had our very first meeting in November, January, and actually you attended with me. So the very first one was our very first meeting. It was sort of a broad meeting. They sort of discussed what we were intending to do. They gave us a long view of the entire program over the entire year, what expectations we'll have. They gave us some homework. The homework is not necessarily to be graded on. It's more about teaching you how to fill out the application. So each time they have a quarter meeting, they'll ask us a specific set of requirements to provide them at the very next quarterly meeting. And in doing so, the very first meeting they asked us to do was, could we develop an asset map of our community? And I'm going to kind of go through that. I'm going to go through this brief. But before I do that, I want you to take a look at benefits to the Texas Main Street program. So in the past, a lot of people understand the program to be a sort of a grant assist program that assists downtown Main Street. That's not how it evolved into. In the past, they would offer grants for sidewalks and light lamp posts, and at one point they actually did facade grants, and they've eliminated that. Essentially what they offer now is they offer research to professional development assistance with downtown issues. They provide virtual and on-site training if there's a need. There's Main Street specific professional development opportunities for participant communities. plus downtown revitalization and preservation education through their Texas Historic Commission's Real Places Conference. And it's a good conference. I've been to one. Then the other 3 or 4 items are pretty basic. Product development, a range of design services, assistance to Main Street merchants and local programs, and finally, access to non-entitlement communities to Main Street's specific pool of improvement funds through Main Street Improvement Fund through the Texas Department of Agriculture. And specifically the CDBG program, and they offer some funding. In some cases, they offer communities that are not Main Street programs funding. So TDA actually has the option. They actually can fund programs that are communities that are not involved in the Texas Main Street program, or you are involved. Right now, the ones that are provided are the ones that are not involved with the Texas Main Street program. And what I mean by that is once we become a Texas Main Street city, we won't have access to some of that funding. But facade, most of it's facade. The chamber offers some facade assistance, and the city also offers some as well. So it's still a good thing, but here's my question. Will 4 of the committee members assist me? And what I need is, I'm going to need help with our asset mapping. And if you'll give me a few moments, I'll explain what I'm talking about. In the request that I'm asking today, what community assets, it's a series of surveys, and the surveys are pretty specific to physical assets. It's what we have. It's an overlay of the area in which we want to actually improve, which would probably be exactly what our Main Street programs are involved. And what this program, what this committee oversees would be the exact area in which we would want to improve. These assets we would take a look at are resources, services, and support. But in particular, I'm going to give you exactly what I'm looking for. Natural, social, built, economic, and service. So these assets are, for example, natural would be green space, social would be community groups, long-term residents, built would be historic buildings, street grids, accessibility, economic would be local banks, private investment, jobs, and finally, service would be health services and education. These are all assets that would be in that section, that targeted area in which we would want to continue to develop. This would be part of our Main Street application in which we would ask the state of Texas, if you're going to offer some assistance, they're going to ask us, well, what exactly are you targeting? What are you looking at in your community that you feel are important? So this is our asset map at the beginning. From here, we'll take the next step, and the next step will be how do you integrate that information into the application? Why are these things important, and why would you put value in them? So what I'm asking is there'd be a series of town hall meetings, a few, not many, maybe 1 or 2, where we would actually ask some of the community to come, sit with us, and answer our survey questions. And we'll have the survey questions ready, and I have them ready. What I'm asking is just for 4 of the committee to assist me to actually pull that meeting together. I'm 3 months into this community, and I still don't know everybody. I'm still getting to know people. It would be helpful to have some help from you. That's the request.
I have a couple questions.
Yes, ma'am.
So are you requesting assistance specifically just with this asset mapping in the very beginning? Or are you looking for involvement throughout the year-long process? Which my understanding is almost 3 months of it is gone now.
Well, yes, we started late January, so we're out February, March, and of course this month. I would ask you for the entire year, So yes, the answer to your question would be for the entire year,
For the,
not just,
the whole process?
yes, ma'am.
Just a one-off.
Yes, ma'am.
And I will give everybody else an opportunity to ask questions too. What's the deadline for the asset mapping?
There is none. There's no deadline. They would like us to know where we are by the next quarter, which is coming up in May. We'll have our next quarterly meeting.
Okay.
They'll ask us, where are we? There isn't a due date. There isn't a due date for any of it. So what this whole process for the year long is a long standing application. We will spend time over the year putting this whole application together. This is part of the application. By the end of the year, in December, we should have enough information to actually apply for the Main Street program. So there isn't a due date, but I don't want to get too far behind. But then again, I don't want to rush it and then we make some mistakes.
Okay, thank you. Would anyone else like to ask questions before we enter into a discussion on this?
So what time of day are the quarterly meetings?
Well, they're about midday.
Okay.
They run about midday. They're a couple of hours, and then it's once that's over, they do what they call an open meeting, and that's about 2.5 hours. And what that means is they'll be online, and you can hop on and ask questions about things you're working on. And and they literally do it for every community that's participating this go around. But they also offer opportunity for you to just call and set up a meeting and talk to them again. If you need 2 more hours, they'll give you 2 more hours. So it's really up to us. We do have to attend the quarterly meetings. That's the important part. That's to make sure that we are truly interested. But thereafter, it's just if we want to ask more questions, we can ask more questions.
Would
you have
every
to-
volunteer need to attend every
No.
one of those meetings? Okay.
No, I'm sort of leaving it, 4. If 5 makes a quorum, 4 wouldn't make a quorum. You could jump on. You could jump on from home as long as you don't ask questions. But I have to be here and online and participate.
I'm very glad you mentioned quorum because if you do want 4 of us to participate, it would be great if you could look into the legality of that, because my understanding is if more than 2 of us meet to discuss town business of the historic preservation nature, things related to this committee, that it is a public meeting, has to be announced, has to be an open forum. So more than 2 of us could not sit in a room to discuss this at the same time.
I'll look into that.
Please, thank you.
Well, and I'll have that for you in an email by the end of the week.
That'd be great. Thank you. Other questions?
Do want to say this. This being my very first meeting, was a lot of uncertainty. I had to go through my notes again. I had to make sure I was reading my notes again. Some of this was extracted exactly out of a presentation I actually attended with Texas Historic Commission. It's not that I'm uncertain. It's still feeling a little uncomfortable with the whole presentation and attending a committee. So apologies to you all.
Sorry, I do have a question. Have you done this program with other cities?
So yes, but we have not. It was already in place, so it's not. I've never gone through the application process before. When I've been with other cities, the program was in place, and we had a Main Street manager. And back then, it was a little different. You could apply for some grants, and it actually had a little more teeth. Now what they offer is a lot of assistance, technical assistance, design information that would cost us some money, and a lot of that's free. They provide that technical assistance. They give us, you buy a car and you think you know everything about a car, but how would you like to have someone to come over and teach you all the things about that car so you know for certain you're getting a good buy? It's sort of like that. They offer that assistance to help us answer those questions or take away that fear and fright about how to move forward on designing, how to mitigate some issues that you might have with regards to building owners, that sort of thing.
And it doesn't cost the city anything
No.
to participate. It's basically just kind of making sure there's enough interest and ability within the town to be part of the,
Program.
yeah.
Yeah, would you get a little closer?
Sure, yeah, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Oh, so yes, ma'am, to answer your question, it doesn't cost anything, but other than time, and you have to maintain a program. And so there's commitment on our side, and there's financial commitment on our side to actually run the programs. This is not we step in and we just let it run on its own. No, there's time and commitment to it. Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to ask a clarifying question, follow up on what Aaron asked. When you said there's no cost associated with, so my understanding is there's no cost associated with the First Street Initiative, but I thought
Right. Yes,
that
ma'am.
the Main Street Initiative, we were required to have a full-time city staff member overseeing the Main Street Initiative if we were going to pursue that.
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
City prepared to pay for a full-time Main Street program person if we spend a year helping with the First Street Initiative to do the application?
Well, it was the intention of the city council to pursue. Well,
I just don't want to spend a year wasting anybody's time if the city wasn't prepared to hire somebody to run the Main Street program. Should we be accepted into it at the end of the year?
so to answer your question, yes, the city actually, it's the city council that actually asked us to pursue this. And so I presume that since they asked us to pursue it, they're going to actually ask somebody to sit as a downtown, hopefully Main Street program manager. As it stands right now, I am that manager until we get to that point we actually apply. And that's a good question to bring up. Could be something that's a question you want to ask directly to City Council to get that response. There's a lot of presumption, and I'm not sure if that's if it's an accurate answer for you. So I have to go back and make certain that, did you really mean to say that you wanted to hire a manager? But it seems like they did when they were pursuing this program.
Great, thank you. Any other questions? We are short 3 members, so there are 3 people we can't answer for, but subject to getting an answer about the Open Meeting Act, so we know if we actually can come together as a group to work on things. Does anyone here have any interest in volunteering to help with the project?
I'll help you. Yeah, I don't mind helping, but
I think the First Street Initiative meetings are online. So at least the one Robert invited me to was online. And then there's going to be a lot of work I think most of the work's actually outside of those meetings.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, I would be interested in helping. So you've got 3 of the 4, and there's number 4. All right, so you have 4 volunteers. Just do let us know about the Open Meeting Act. And I could be wrong, but I'm not even sure you can put all 4 of us on an email. Because if one of us responds, then it becomes something that should be an open meeting. And I'm not sure how to phrase that. So please just let us know.
I will. And as I understand, your commitment really is helping with the town hall, making sure that our surveys are out, making sure you invite people to the meeting. That's pretty much all I'm really asking. I'll guide the conversation. I'll make sure that the questions are being asked or being answered the way I hope they would answer them. Your participation really is inviting more people to the meeting, people that you know from the community. That's what's really what I need help with.
Okay, if that's all you need help with, I don't think this needs to be a formal process. You just send us some information and ask us to share it. That doesn't sound like a formal request. If you actually want help identifying assets, writing things up, I mean, there's there's certainly a lot of experience and intelligence and heart amongst the 9 people on the committee. And I would encourage you to use it as a resource and not just somebody to invite other people to the party.
Okay.
Given that this is a possible action item, I need a motion. For example, since I'm not sure the chair can make motion, the chair can make a motion. For example, I move that that at least 4 members of our committee assist our economic development director with items related to the First Street initiative, subject to not violating the Open Meetings Act.
I second that motion. No,
You gotta make it first.
sorry. All right, hang on. I make the motion that this committee, this committee make a motion right now to 4 of us to make sure that we're not going to violate the Open Meetings Act to assist the economic director.
I'll second.
All in favor, raise your hand. Any opposed? Motion carries. There you go.
Thank you.
Before we move on to item number 5 and adjourn the meeting, does anyone have anything they'd like to bring up in future meetings that we can put on our next quarterly agenda? Because unless someone submits for a certificate of appropriateness, we won't be meeting for another 3 months as a full committee.
I would like to ask what happened to, we were gonna have videos and we each had a specific portion of the historical preservation to work on and submit, which I did, and I don't think the new people did, but what happened to it?
That's a really good question. And in fact, Robert and I talked last week because he had initially had it on the agenda. And he sent me the agenda to look at. And I said, oh my God, I don't want us to have yet another meeting with this as an item because we've been talking about this for 2 years and we were supposed to do videos and we were supposed to do this. And somebody was going to contact us from the city to shoot videos of us individually and send us time slots, and no one ever did. So I told Robert I would take it on myself to reach out to every individual and make sure everybody had a script. And I'll take my handy little iPhone,
3-minute script.
a handy little, well, 30, I mean, I don't know if anybody's going to watch a 3-minute video, but 20 seconds to 3 minutes. But I committed to reaching out to people individually and shooting those videos. So everyone will be, because we got to get that done, right? It's been a while. So that's on me. And I'll be reaching out to everybody here in the next couple weeks to schedule time to go over a script. We'll fill you guys in later to go over a script and then shoot little videos downtown in front of the historic buildings.
So is that an item for next meeting?
An item, yes, that'd be a great item for next meeting to present the videos. And present them to the city for distribution through our city Facebook page.
Now, you mentioned to me that there was supposed to be about more how-to, educational. Is that what it was? Is that wrong?
They're not, they're meant to be
An
about
explanation.
preservation awareness and education. Not necessarily here's how to preserve a historic building, but a little bit about the history of our town, why historic preservation is important, what is restoration versus reconstruction versus rehabilitation. Bonnie, do you remember some other topics?
I did, my presentation was on new construction and, yeah.
So they're meant to be brief and kind of explain the highlights that we deal with at historic preservation.
Understood.
Thank you.
No, thanks for bringing it up. Anything else somebody wants to see on an agenda?
I'll give you an update at the next meeting as well, where we are with our first street.
That'd be great. And for our third quarter meeting, not the second quarter, I'd love to see on the agenda a presentation, which a couple of us can work on, not more than two, for what other cities have done to preserve their residential historic districts. We discussed this a couple meetings ago, whether this was something we wanted to pursue further, is to try to encourage the city to put some protections in place for residential historic district. And the committee had very mixed responses. So I'd like us to take a look at what other cities have done, how those things have turned out, what the unintended consequences would be. Is it worth the effort? And let's just look at some possibilities.
Are you thinking more rural or
No, residential.
doesn't matter what, rural or urban, doesn't really matter?
If you look at the map of Smithville, we have an area designated as our residential historic district. So that's the area that I would be talking about.
So it doesn't matter if it's in a big town or small town, just
Oh, I see what you mean. What other cities have done. Ideally, it would be
Comparable.
towns not too dissimilar to ours.
As Bastrop?
I don't know. That's a really good question.
They're set up just almost like.
Will you look into that? Okay.
there's a small town in Northeast Texas that's done a really good job of that sort of thing. I'll have to go back and research what the name is, but I traveled through one not long ago and I could not believe what they had done to the residential area. They'd really improved it tremendously. It was an old historic town.
But if you could get us the name of that town, that'd be great. And Michelle, I think Bastrop does have something in place because I remember reading that they had done an architectural audit of some residential areas and come up with a handful of design elements that made Bastrop uniquely Bastrop. And then I think those design elements were intended to be a guideline for any new construction. But I know, this much.
Well, I think what the advantage of looking at Bastrop right now is they're on the forefront of explosion in what's happening with their community, preserving the historic part, expanding to the big box stores that are coming in. How are they looking at that? Because I don't think we're too far behind as Austin continues to come out our direction. We need to kind of watch and kind of learn from their experiences of what they're doing and how they're handling it, and what we can do to, look at their successes and failures and what we can prevent. Because I think coming into this program, I think it'd be a great opportunity to learn from them because they're just exploding. I live in Bastrop. We're exploding. And to watch what happens, it's not going to even look the same a year from now. So I think for us, we're more community-based, less business-based. I mean, we need to improve the Main Street. And I have 2 businesses here on Main Street. And I can tell you just the improvement of what we did with the corners, with the accessibility, that was a great improvement. But the rest of our sidewalks really need to be replaced. And it just adds that upkeep to your town. And if you're not upkeeping your town, businesses don't want to come here. People don't want to come here. It's an unsafe environment if you have holes in your sidewalk. So I know there's some basic things that we can start from. And I do a lot of the decorating for our town, so I'm always in looking at what's happening. But I really think to draw into people coming here, people wanting to live here, we always talk about this is the best place to live. We're the best kept secret about where people want, but do people want to expand? Our residents don't necessarily want us to expand, but we need to at least build the businesses of what we do on Main Street because that tax falls back to our people who live here. And when your tax is higher than some of the places in Austin, that's not good. So I think of what we can do and what we can learn from Bastrop because we're going to get there and we either need to be ready or we're not going to be ready.
Well,
So
I wonder if we're talking about 2 different things. mean, I agree with you 100% about our downtown commercial district.
Mhm.
And so what I'm asking us to look into with regard to what other cities have done is expanding some protections to the residential historic district.
Mhm.
Because I see, I used to live in Austin and I will never go back. But I see what's happened to some of their really beautiful historic neighborhoods
Mhm.
and the texture that
Mhm.
they had has been destroyed.
Of course.
And I would hate to see that happen in our residential district. This isn't for us to decide, but it can be ours to research and make recommendations.
Yeah, absolutely.
Madam Chair, there's also the opportunity to bring up the next meeting or possible zoning changes for downtown. The abandoned building initiative that we had discussed on Monday could be a topic that you might want to visit on at the next meeting as well.
Okay, let's put it on there.
That has a huge buzz in the business district right
Oh,
now.
I'm sure.
It
Yeah.
has.
Yeah.
I've had a number of people talk to me about it in the last 2 days.
Robert, you mentioned a town northeast Texas. It wasn't Jefferson by chance, was it?
No, but that's a good example. That's a real good example.
They've done a really good job.
Yes, sir. They have. I'm thinking more south. I could sworn I thought it was Palestine, but I might be wrong. I have to go back through there, and I'm going through there in May. So when I drive up, I'll hit the city and I'll remember exactly which one it is. But they've done some good jobs. But I'll make sure I let you know.
To anybody out there listening, if you are aware of any towns that have put some protections in place formally for a residential historic district, whether that program has thrived and done great things, or whether it was a total failure, will you please let us know? Let us know those towns so we can look into them. Thank you. All right, and with that, I think we will move on to item 5 and adjourn this meeting. Thank you, everyone. I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.